another week. It is another week of startups. It is another week where we're going to talk about everything that you need to hear to be successful as a founder. Now, as you all know, I turn up here every single Monday morning, generally at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, with only three objectives. The first objective is to share with you what is happening inside the investment space. And as you know, Expert Dojo have invested in hundreds of companies. We've invested all around the world. There are not that many people who have more experience with regards to actually getting investment than myself. And I want to share it with you, right? So what I see happening and what I saw happening the previous week, I'm going to bring back to you. Now, actually this week, I'm going to talk to you about, I think, some positive things because I want to bring some positivity back to the world again. Number two, I'm then going to focus on growth hacking and areas of growth hacking that can be valuable to you. Maybe there are things that I've seen our companies do. Maybe they're an activity that maybe non-Expert Dojo company has done that I've really liked. Or maybe it's just something that's happening within the environment that I want to make sure that you're aware of. The third part is going to be with regards to Ask Me Anything. That today, Ash wanted me to speak specifically to opportunities in India, why we're going to India, what we're doing in India, everything else. But if somebody has something they would like to ask, which is outside that, you're very welcome to join as well. So it's going to be me and it's going to be you, and we're going to focus on building out a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of information, giving and information sharing. Okay, let me start on the investment side. Now, as most of you know, if you go and look in Crunchbase or you watch what's happening in the world or you listen to any one of the TechCrunch articles coming out, you will see that there's less and less funding that's coming through. If you look at the macroeconomic situation, you'll see that the world is in a crazier and more unsure place, which generally pushes people towards gold and generally pulls them away from more alternative assets like startup. But what is strange in this cycle versus most other cycles that we've gone through before is that Bitcoin is still going way up, and Bitcoin is the most alternative asset that you will ever find. And so when you have a world like this where there's inconsistencies and there's contradictions, it brings incredible opportunity to start up, but it's hardly ever in the same place than it was 6 months before that. And this is what I realized at the beginning of this year. It's that if we just stay with the same investors we had before, if we stay on the same demo days with the same format, with the same everything else, well, just slowly, we will start to get negative returns. It's the same with all of our founders. So we have to change our mentality. We have to change our networks. We have to levitate to a higher level on all areas. So what do I mean by that? Well, let me start with what I did over this past week. I started off on Tuesday and I went to Bitcoin over in Las Vegas. And I was Tuesday and Wednesday in Bitcoin in Las Vegas. Why was I there? Because Bitcoin is going through the ceiling right now. It had hit 110,000 by the time I got to Vegas, and everybody was in euphoria. So that Bitcoin conference had 35,000 people there, many of those people with lots of money. And the funny thing about people who are in Bitcoin is that it's very, very hard to tell who are the ones with money. But if you have a good value proposition and you put it out there, then you can get to them. And so I was very aware of that. I then made sure that my network knew that I had access to that. And that put me in a place where I was able to go and be able to see those. I then went to another city, went up to San Francisco immediately afterwards. And then I went to another city, and then I went to New York, right? And so my week was 4 different cities all the way during the week. Why? Because in each of these places, I met more people. Now, during that period of meeting people, I met with 7 multimillionaires, maybe 10. I met with 1 billionaire who I spent at least 5 or 6. Actually, I met with 2 billionaires who I spent at least 5 or 6 hours with. Now, if I had done a similar month in anywhere in 2024, I didn't have one single month where I met with that many people when we're just thinking about investment of that high level of equality. And so you have to put yourself out there, startups. You have no choice. If you are sitting behind your desk, if you're sending out emails like you did in 2024, if you're wondering why your LinkedIn invitations are not hitting the right people, it's because the market has changed. The wealthy people have changed. The way people deploy money has changed. The way people trust has changed. You do not have a choice. You have to get yourself out there and you have to levitate. If there is the only thing that you take from this call, it is that your network needs to be levitated. Your wealth needs to be levitated. Your customers need to be levitated. Everything around you in your life needs to be lifted up. The people around you, if they are not part of lifting you, then you have the wrong people around you. And again, as always, I'm never talking about friends or people that you hang out with or people you go to the bar or the coffee shop with. I'm talking about being an early stage startup, being in a war against time, knowing that you only have one opportunity to make this, and literally every single decision on their own could be the difference between you failing in this incredible endeavor that you have or being able to break through. Like every one of the 5, 6, 700 decisions that you make in any day could be the one that breaks the camel's back or could be the ones that break you through. Levitate, 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 levitate. Surround yourself with people who levitate you, right? They lift you up. Make sense? Okay. That's on the investment side of it. But I want you to really take heart on this. There are not fewer rich people around than before. And there are not fewer people who want to make money than before. There are more. There are more in 2025 than there were in 2024, more in 2024 than 2023. What has changed this year from the investment side is there is a higher burden of proof. And this is why I say you need to levitate your network, or your network needs to levitate you. It is why I say that you can't just give pitch decks to people and hope that that would be enough for them. You have to show them a burden of proof that you're going to be the one that's going to be able to break through. And you have to be doing it all the time. It's not just good enough me going to a place and meeting a ton of people. I now need to make sure that those people that I've met with, that I'm keeping them up to date with what we're doing. Now, how am I doing that? Am I sending out a weekly newsletter and am I adding those people to the newsletter? Maybe. Am I doing social posts and I'm putting these people in the social posts? Maybe. Am I doing more events and inviting the same people so I can keep on building that network and getting it stronger? Definitely. Visibility, visibility, visibility. Level up, level up, level up, and levitivity, 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 right? You know what to do. But you can't just do the same as before. It's not just about sending a text. People need to be talking about you, right? What about on the growth hacking side? On the growth hacking side, exactly the same. I'm seeing very, very different tactics on breaking through. I was with this incredible company on Sunday, and we were talking about how do we go through, and we were looking at how do they get access to their audience. Now, previously, and actually, let me give you a little bit of context on this because this is not a normal company that we would be involved in. So the company was in the area of building out thousands and thousands and thousands of companies that they would then manage their properties. So generally standalone housing properties. The idea behind it was make money from having rental properties, right? And then they provided all of the services you could need, everything from buying the property, managing the property, changing the sheets, doing everything. And then they're going to move into Airbnb in the future, which is a huge, huge, huge market. But when we looked at the start, we were like, well, you're going to send an email. We looked at the marketing plan they had. And I was like, well, we're going to send emails out to 2,000 people. Okay, but absolutely not one single person will open that email, look at that email, or reply to that email, irrespective of how good it is. Nobody cares. You're writing to real estate agents who have the attention span of a goldfish, so they're not going to be looking at it. LinkedIn, maybe, still very, very, very difficult, because why should they believe you? And then that took us to the place of, oh, okay, trust. So we need to build up your trust. So we have to work on content marketing. So everything became about how do we make you a star, at least in your own world? How do we make sure that you are trusted and believed? Why do you think I do these? Do I do it because I have a tremendous love for startups around the world? Kind of, sort of, but that's not enough on its own. I do it because it builds a level of domain dominance, which is through trust. Because if you hear me saying enough things that make sense for long enough, you're going to trust me more. And if you trust me more, you're going to like me more. And if you like me more and trust me more, there is a larger chance that someone is going to do business with me. In my case, my business is investing in companies, but I don't want normal investors. I want great investors. Okay. And so to be able to do that, that trust is very important. And so is elevating the domain dominance. So we knew this person has huge expertise, but does not have domain dominance. So we need to build that up. People need to understand that someone who was huge in the days of analog can also be huge in the days of digital. Okay, that was number one. Number two, we said, well, hold on a second. Everybody wants to make passive income, right? They want to make income while they sleep. Everybody knows that homes are a great way to be able to source that income. So why wouldn't we just help these people build out their own homes? Fantastic. How do we do that? Seminars. Set up seminars and use that domain expertise to bring in hundreds of people into a room and explain to them how they can make money from this new money source that they didn't know how to manage before. Perfect, right? And that has a whole marketing area on its own. Then we started moving towards the most likely people to be able to take their products. Now, we happen to have a celebrity fund and we know a lot of celebrities, but so do other people. But we also know that celebrities need to do something with their money after they come out, especially an athlete that's finished with the NFL, or somebody who was a tennis player who's suddenly done 10, 15 years and they have 20, 30, 40, 50, $80 million in the bank account. What's the best thing for them to do? Well, one of them is owning multiple properties and renting them out, especially if they don't have to deal with the hassle of that themselves. Phenomenal. Now we have three channels. We have content marketing as a channel. That has to be run as a channel. We have seminars as its own channel. We have athletes and personalities as its own channel. Now we go into affiliates and partners. And so affiliates and partners is all about SDR teams picking up the phone and calling all these real estate brokers, and everybody's in real estate, and saying, look, tell people to buy rental properties. We will help them find them, manage them, work it together, share commission. So you can make money from this on top of everything else that you do. So you understand? None of this are the things we spoke about before. If this was going back 3 years and definitely 5 years, I would have said, we've got to do some Facebook ads. We got to make sure that we build a Facebook group. We got to make sure that the Facebook group is tied into LinkedIn groups, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we would go from there. By the way, what I would like to do, he says, as he turns on, oh, we've already got some questions in here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to throw in, just while we're in the middle of this, I want to come and do some stuff on India as well. But let's see what we've got here. I do like stable coins. Let's throw in a little bit of Ask Me Anything in the middle of this, and then I can jump into India afterwards. So yes, we are doing well. Thank you. I'm happy to tell you we're working with cardless payments. Lovely. Stablecoin UPIs. Well, you are in the sexiest place in the world right now. Stablecoin-based UP system eliminates the need to carry physical cards or share sensitive card details. Look, what that says at the end, at merchants, interested to discuss more. So this is like a really, really good space to be in right now. We invested in a company called Credit, who are out of New York. Credit were doing remittances using stablecoins. And using the thing called the Lightning Network, which is just a very good way to transfer money. I cannot even tell you how high their revenue was, but it has gone so well. And I think that's probably going to be one of our first African unicorns. So we love that. And we have another company that are using stablecoins in Latin America. They're transferring crypto to fiat and fiat to crypto and crypto to multiple crypto. And so people can actually decide where they want to hold their money. Like stablecoins are like a nice portal, right? They're like Doctor Who, or Doctor Who used to get in the TARDIS, and that used to take them from one world to another world. That's what stablecoin does, right? It allows us the flexibility from analog to digital. And so I love anything in stable coins. The only thing you want to just look at, and I would love to see it, like shoot me over the deck, please, to Brian at expertdojo.com. And that's the great thing about being on this call, is that you can get me directly. But I love the space. I think there's going to be a ton of great companies that are going to come through there. The only thing you want to do is just make sure that you're very differentiated, because there's a lot of people in the payment space. And you also have Stripe and PayPal and a lot of the other companies that are realizing very quickly that they need to start innovating themselves before they get eaten up in this. It's not like the olden days where they could just acquire. So you just want to make sure that there's a very strong differentiation on top of just the one feature of saying you don't need to carry physical cards, right? You can keep it in your phone. But I do like the idea. I like the space. I like where you're going into. With the companies we've done this for already, we used remittances or something else as the Trojan horse to break into finance. And then once we had the Trojan horse, we're like, great, now we create one of the biggest financial services companies in the world. But hey, Javianish, well done, my friend. Good, you're in the right space. I like this question, which has just come through from Kushi. So that same person, while we were at the table, he's a very wealthy person. He exited his previous company with a huge exit on it. And when we started, he's just like, I just want to create the activity and I want to get the work. And I brought in a couple of great specialists that were working with him and helping him get to that thing. And I said to him, but by the end of the year, his problem was, just before I get to that, his problem was, well, people are coming onto the website, but out of 3,000 people on the website, nobody's clicking. And I'm like, well, that's not the problem. Like, you can't work this forward. You have to work it backwards, right? We have to work out how many sales do we need to have within a period of time. And then we work out the activity and the conversions that will help us get there. And so in his case, I was like, what's the biggest thing that can happen? He's like, houses sold, right? Are people who are customers, sorry. I was like, cool. How does 500 sound? He said, that sounds great. I'm like, that's not the answer. The answer is it's got to be tied into going backwards into the activities that you're able to do to get you to this number. And so then we looked and said, okay, so the objective is to get people buying houses on the platform, right? Because then they buy these houses, they turn them into rental, and then they get them and use them for all of the other services they have. So we're like, okay, of the people on the platform, what percentage are going to be converts already? Probably 80%, which means they own houses already. What percentage of new? Probably like 20%. So we're like, okay. So actually, based on that conversion ratio, if we brought the target down to 250, that would mean that 20% of those would have us sitting at around 50 houses that would be sold. Great. So we can sell 50 houses and have 500 people that are engaged somewhere on the platform. And so now we work our way backwards to say, how many seminars do we need to do? How many athletes do we need to lock down? And then while we were at the table, Stephen said, I can get you 4 or 5 athletes. I'm pretty sure they'll take down somewhere between 1 and 3 houses. So we're like, great. Now we know that that particular area can be 20% of the goal of the 50 houses, because we can get 10 of those houses locked down through the athletes. Then we're like, great. Now let's look at the seminars. And so by breaking it down and working your way backwards, you're not going through a period of time where you're just going to be constantly frustrated about the fact that you weren't able to hit the targets. Does it make sense? Targets are everything. You have to start with targets which go out to the end of the year. Some people would say 3 and 5 years. I'm okay with that. Like, you have to know where you're going. I just don't think you can control it. But I do think you can control the next 6 to 12 months. So if we knew 250 was the number for 12 months, that's going to give us 50 houses. 50 houses is going to be broken down between 4 channels. One channel is going to give us 10 houses. How many are we going to get from the seminars? How many are we going to get from his content marketing? And how many are we going to get from the real estate brokers in his particular case? Right? I love it, love it, love it, love it. And then definitely beat yourself up on targets. It doesn't mean it has to be a binary thing where you do harry-carry with the company if you don't hit them, but you definitely have to understand why you didn't hit them and what you have to do to fix that while you're going forward. And all these things that I'm talking about are very easy to talk about. It's the doing which is everything. So those activities every single day, just question yourself. How much of your time are you spending doing emails and other admin related activities? How much of your time are you spending doing outbound, like pure outbound? Where are you prioritizing those times? How much time are you spending doing follow up, and how much time are you spending doing investors? What I find is that people spend way too much time at the beginning looking for investors. It doesn't help you, right? So I'll actually, I'll mention a little while, you know, Jivian, make sure you send that deck back over again, because I'll have a look at it, but send it back to me with any comments that you had from the first time that you applied. I'm glad you applied. Look, anyone who applies for Expert Dojo, they subscribe to one fundamental thesis, and that is that growth is the most important thing in the world. Your customer is the only one that matters. All of our focus is on the customer. We, of course, invest, as do other investors. The difference with other investors than us is that other investors will immediately focus on making you look pretty for other investors so you can raise more money. We believe that the only person that you should care about looking good in front of is your customer, because you want your customer to be transformed. If your customer is transformed, the investors are going to love you, period. You just have to not be dumb, right? They just have to be able to see you. But if you spend all of your time begging for money, you have no time to build an incredible customer base. You need to build a great product. You need to build a great customer base. Okay, so next one. Yay, good questions today. Thank you, Shreya. How to connect with celebrities, how to tap into their network. Could you please share some hack? Okay, so I mean, look, the celebrity fund that we created in itself was a hack. The funny thing is, like, before the funds, I knew absolutely zero information about celebrities. And I knew very few celebrities. Maybe I knew a few. I actually knew the guy from Titanic, who was the baddie on Titanic, who had beautiful hair on Titanic. And I subsequently found out that, I can't remember what he was called in Zoolander. Billy Zane, that's who it was, is the bald guy in Zoolander. So I knew him. And although he was a very nice guy and we got on very well, he was entirely useless to me for what I wanted to do. And what's happened is, since we've launched the Celebrity Fund, we partnered with Steven. Steven is like a great guy in Miami. He became our GP over in the Celebrity Fund. He knew 10, 15 celebrities. That brought us into events where celebrities were at. We then got introduced to people who deal with celebrities as well. And like, even this morning, I was talking to my guys, like, I just spoke with a guy who's the quarterback from the Green Packer. I'm not even that good on sports, but I do know. Or even Saturday night, I was out with a guy who was a player on the West Ham team a couple of years back. And so none of these people would have cared about me if I hadn't moved myself into the universe of celebrities and influencers. Now, I'm very clear. I could give two hoots about going to a posh house where people are dressed really nicely, or being with celebrities because somebody was famous. I could give two hoots. Never been important to me. Like, my wife was really well known, and I don't think I ever went on a red carpet event, like, ever. I couldn't care less. What I do know is that my personal brand is in servitude to my business brand. I didn't even realize I don't even have a personal Instagram account. I use Expert Dojos. Like, that's how much in servitude I am. And it's exactly the same with celebrities. We want to meet celebrities because they are of value to our business. So I'll tell you a story. That's how I did it. And that was my hack. And I'm serious. We'll have probably 50 to 70 top grade tier 1 celebrities by the end of this year, who will all be part of our fund. And that all came from nothing, nowhere before. I'm just an Irish guy from an Irish place with the only person I ever knew was a person who knew Bono from U2. That was it. And so it's very easy for anyone to do it if I can do it. But I will tell you a story about how an entrepreneur did this in an amazing way. And so there was a company that we gave a little bit of help to, but honestly, they're working it themselves now, and I'm so happy for them. But back in the day, they wanted to build out a technology for autistic kids, and people and kids that were just slightly on the spectrum, and to help them in schools. And because there are 1 in 10 children in America that need special needs in some kind of areas. And so they had built out this beautiful program. And they went to the powers that be in the US and said, I have this great program, we want to bring it in. And they could give two hoots, because I believe that people in power in America don't care about education, as sad as that sounds. But they spent all of their money doing that. And then they sent an email over to Andre Agassi. And they said, Andre, this is a hugely important cause. We really need you in it. We know that you've been very vocal about how much that you care. And he wrote to him and 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 didn't stop writing to him. And he wrote to him and he called him, he wrote to him and he called him, he texted him, he did whatever. And so whatever contacts you can get, Twitter, outbound, you can get anybody's email. He didn't stop, because he believed in the cause. And since that time, that person has put a lot of money into the company, introduced them over to a lot of other people, because he believed in the cause. It's something to him that was incredibly important to fix in the world. So there are multiple ways to get there. You find out where they are, you turn up outside their hotel. You just have to have something compelling to tell them. Like, if you just say things like, oh, I just want to meet you for coffee. Well, who the hell wants to meet for coffee with someone they don't know? But if you say, my goal in the world is to make sure that all children that have got special needs or any kind of problem are given the most incredible opportunities to be able to break through and do the things that their parents, wanted them to always be able to do. Like, it's beautiful, right? And so people will focus in with that. So wherever your business is on a level of purpose, like even going back to the real estate one that I mentioned about earlier on, like, this isn't about buying real estate so rich people can become richer. This is about supplementing the income of average Americans who are financially hopeless in this particular moment. This is the American dream that's been stolen, and it's been given back to them. Beautiful purpose. So who can help us on that? Grant Cardone, maybe. Grant Cardone is a great guy in the real estate space. Maybe Ryan Serhant, if anybody saw that great Netflix show up in New York, maybe he could be excellent to bring in as well. There are so many ways of doing this, but you got to do the work, and there's got to be really good messaging behind the work. Okay. Good on you. I like it. Thumbs up there. We like thumbs up. I made an excellent point. I like that. But I also make non-excellent points as well. So I also want you to push back on me on these things. Look, first of all, you have me here for this entire, 45 minutes, an hour if needs be. You can ask any question that you want to ask. You can be complimentary. You can be constructive with lots of criticism. You can do anything that you want to do. But I do want you to get off the call, and I want you to do something that is going to push your week forward in a way that would not normally have happened. I don't want this to be a nice information gathering where you walk away and say, yeah, that was good. Brian gave me some good information. I have invested in 300 companies. I'm in the middle of one of the most complicated mergers that has probably ever happened in the early stage space right now. And I'm involved in every single detailed moment of it. I am dealing with investors all day long. I hear the stuff they love. I hear the things they hate. And I am here this morning on this call just for you. So use me is what I'm saying. If you have more questions and you want to ask, whether it's about stable coins or anything else, hit me. If you would like to know about a pitch deck, and should you have 8 slides or 9 slides of the pitch deck, ask me. If you want to know what should come first or second in a pitch deck, ask me. If you want to know what wording or what messaging is best for companies, again, ask me. I'm here, okay? So I wanted just to cover the last piece from me, and I'll also answer any more questions that come in through the chat. But the last piece for me is just opportunities. So I mentioned to you about the celebrity fund, and that to me was an opportunity, because it's so difficult. If you think it's hard for startups to raise money, you cannot imagine how hard it is for general partners of venture funds to be able to raise money. And so I knew the celebrity fund would make that easy, because I know that rich people, sure, they want a return, but they don't believe anyone's going to do a better return than anyone else. So they really want to get courtside seats watching Miami Heat play. So there are many, many, many ways to do this, but definitely you have to look at what's the best angle for your company to break through. For me, Celebrity fund, easy peasy. I did it in my sleep. I found the right partner in Stephen. We already had John to be able to support Stephen in the other areas that we knew Stephen would be weaker. And now we have this amazing team who are able to push through. India was the other opportunity. And I know that today was built on like opportunities and how to break through in India. But like the real opportunity in India is this bridge that's being built between the US and India. I believe there will be an incredibly special relationship between President Trump and India. I think there'll be an incredible relationship. And I think that relationship is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So, whoever owns the bridges between India and the United States owns the trade. And we want to own the bridge for the early stage space. And so we looked at India and we said, we have kids who have been engineers for 30 years because their moms wanted them to be engineers, boys and girls. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant people who are now growing up to be incredible developers with a knowledge of what's happening in AI already. Number two, IIT are spitting out 20, 25,000 brilliant developers, AI specialists, machine learning specialists, and people who just understand like most other folks don't. And that's creating a base of people. So for me, on a very basic level, just moving our back office over there was an easy decision. But now we say we want to invest in Indian companies and we want to invest really hard in Indian companies. And that begins right this moment. And so we also are looking at how can we add value. And I think that, again, if I'm trying to bring everything back to your own businesses, if you're a VC and you're listening, by the way, it's a no-brainer. Get your ass over to India, partner with a VC who knows what they're doing over there. We already had a VC want to partner with us because they said, look, guys, you understand India. You've invested in 30 companies. We don't know squat about India, but the one thing we do know is that if we don't start investing in there, we are going to miss out big time. I agree with you. You are going to miss out big time. And so India is only going to get stronger. The staff and the people over there are only going to get better. And the opportunities are only going to become more. If you don't know the region, for whatever your opportunity is, partner with somebody incredible in that region by giving yourself a really good trapdoor to be able to escape if the partnership doesn't work out the way that you hoped it would do. And other than that, you just go in and you go in heavy. That's what we'll do. We'll invest in probably 20, maybe 30 companies by the end of the year. And then the following year, I would love to invest in somewhere between 25 and 50 companies. And then we just keep on building and building and building and building and building. That is the plan. Okay. So let's see what we got. We got another question, which has just come through. Yeah, like this is really, actually, I want to give two examples of great, great, great entrepreneurs. Actually, I want to give three examples. I want to give two examples of great entrepreneurs doing amazing things and one example of a great hack. And so we had been building a TV show over in the United States, and it was costing like tens and tens and tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars, just really, really, really expensive. And that's nobody's fault except just the fact that it's really expensive. That podcast that we did, which is unbelievably high quality, cost virtually nothing to do. And we did it over in India. I did it up in Delhi. It was like so much fun for me. The studio was like so great. The sound was great. The camera people was great. Everything was great. And so also look at the resources that are not necessarily right in front of you. Look at them around you and say to yourself, how can I produce something which might seem way beyond what I'm able to do and actually be able to produce it straight away? But I also want to talk about that entrepreneur in particular. So that guy's name is Vipul. The company's name was, I was going to say Unlu, because they started out as Unlu and then they became Mugafi. And Unlu were masterclass, really. It was really a copy and paste of masterclass. This guy was incredible. He knew tons of celebrities. And again, going back to the celebrity question, how do you hack your celebrities? I bet you your friends know celebrities, or one of them does, right? But I also bet they just don't, we're not going to give them away for free. So you need to trade something for whatever you're asking to get. But anyway, he knew a lot of celebrities, was creating a masterclass, had raised money from us and also from another investor, but then realized that masterclass was not going to do it. There wasn't enough good enough model on the repeatability of people buying masterclasses. They buy one or two, and then that's it. Once you've seen Neil Armstrong taking you to space and giving it as a present to your dad, what else are you going to give your dad? You're not going to give your dad another video. And so he realized that, and he realized the real money was in owning the IP. And so he created this new company called Mugafi. And Mugafi, their intention is to be Disney, but rather than waiting 100 years to get there, they want to own the IP using AI agents and crowdsourced writers to get to the same place that it took Disney to get to in 100 years to get there in 5 years. Incredible, right? So what are the skills you're watching here? Number one, virtually all of us have to adapt and evolve our original business case and our original ideal customer profiles. Virtually all of us, right? What's the second reason? You got to learn. You have to persevere. This stuff doesn't come for free. If you're not prepared to go all the way, well, don't even bother starting in the third. Number three, in the first place. Number three is the best entrepreneurs find the best epic insights. Your first iteration is only to give you permission to be able to find the epic insight that solves the huge problem, the terrible enemy that your consumer is facing. That's it. And he did it. He'll hit, I don't know, 50 million this year in revenue, 40, 50 million in revenue this year. Guy's a god. He's a leader. He worked it out himself. The second use case I want to give you, just going back to the whole activities that you do on a daily basis, is my guy Matt from North. Matt does 75, at least he used to for the first 2 years. He did 75 phone calls every single day before he started his day, 8 o'clock in the morning, every single day, without stop. Then he hit $450,000, $500,000 a month in revenue. Obvious, if you have the right product, and then you're going to have if you have the right product and then you have the intention and you do it properly, you're going to make it. Okay, let's see what Sanchit has to say. Thank you for your insights. We've started working with celebrities from global India. However, we're finding it challenging to define our pitch, as our goal isn't the typical endorsement or fundraising request. Our primary aim is to explain our work with Namaste Global, including our vision of Make in India for global and our mission for bridging US. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of help here. So first of all, I don't know your insight. I don't know your pitch, right? I don't know your pitch. I know that explain our work with Namaste Global. Well, I don't know what that means because that's just a feature. Or your vision in Make in India for global. I mean, I'm guessing it means something like, make your products at home, but none of these are benefits. Like when I talk about benefits, I'm talking about transformative benefits. I'm not talking about features. This is just feature, right? That's all it is. But it's not benefit. It's just features. And so when I go to, for example, when I was in San Francisco and I was pitching Expert Dojo, I said, we're selling our GP share, our portion of it, our GP share. We're going to bring you in as a partner. And that means that you're going to benefit of every single company we've ever invested in the past or in the future. And you get a percentage share based on your percentage ownership. Nobody else in the world is going to do it. We're going to do it one time only so that we can acquire incredible assets at unbelievable prices in the short-term period of time so that we can win. That's all. And so if you want to be a part of owning a Berkshire Hathaway of the future, then you should have a go. And if you don't, then don't. But you know what I mean? Like the transformative benefit is very obvious in that statement that I'm just giving people about why they should do something with us. In yours, it's just a bunch of stuff. If you want to rewrite that in a short, concise way, telling me the value, who your ideal customer profile is and what the value is to that customer, then that's cool. I'm happy to look at it in a couple of minutes. Do you build any funnels around? Oh, I love funnels. Funnels are harder though these days. We are going to actually have, you know what we're going to do? We're going to build out our own funnel makers in India because This is so easy and it's so hard for people to do. And look, everybody knows HubSpot is really good for funnels, but if you don't manage it properly, you can get very expensive. Everybody knows that you can do click funnels for funnels as well. Like you can create nice funnels. And even though click funnels looks a little bit nasty, it's highly effective. And we also know that you can do landing pages and you can build lead pages on landing pages. You can do sequences through multiple different tools. And there's just like so many. Even MailChimp has got sequences these days. Um, I don't know. Here's my only caveat on this, and I'm not saying don't build funnels. I love funnels. So funnels are just really repeatability in a prescribed way. The only thing I'm just tending to find with a lot of funnels is a lot of them are getting by the way, Cleverly is another good tool. I think we have a resource on our website for Cleverly. But the only thing I'm finding with funnels is people are getting very tired with anything that looks like it's prescribed. And so just be careful. I like anything I see that looks like it's come from AI, I'm like, ugh. Or anything that just looks like it's gone to 100 people, I'm like, So just be careful. And even the ones that got clever, there was almost like an evolution of how people thought about this stuff, where you had, before it was like, hi, Brian, my name is Jimmy. We have an accounting firm. You should take our services. And then it evolved to like better copywriters who are like, yo, Brian, you haven't answered my mail, which makes me think that like you don't mind spending extra money. We don't want you to spend extra money. Come on. And then the next email is like something in the same type of vein. And so like, it's okay, but it's just like, this is why I really enjoyed going out and actually traveling around to see stuff. But yeah, we're actually going to build these things out ourselves. We're going to do it for our existing companies, and I'm sure we'll have free resource that would do it. Yes. So you can send. So what will happen is this: you can send text. It's Brian@expertdojo.com, BRIAN at expertdojo.com. Make it easy for you. Tick, 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 tick. There you go. Okay. So, but I will forward all decks to Jonathan, who is John, Jon, at expertdojo.com, because John will go through the diligence. I will glance at it though. So please, if you send it over to me, I'll make sure I look at it, I'll make sure I read it, and then I'll send it over to John. He can have a look at it. Okay, so what else have we got? Okay, 2 more questions here. And we're really good if you could provide, okay, we got this. Let's see, we got one more. Let me add this. We've made an AI product guru, which will assist Indian companies grow in the US, vice versa. Okay, cool. Well done. It's a good idea. There's plenty of companies looking to grow. Look, it's not venture backable unless it is a technology that can scale up to $3 to $5 million a month in revenue. But if it is that, then that's a product. But either way, by the way, let me finish it with this. And look, any more questions anybody has, I'll close down the questions, but we can also, actually, let me just get this off the screen. And then what we'll do is, there we go. Okay. So, and then next week, come back with more questions, like anything, building your brand, finding your ideal customer profile. What is the best email sequence? Like we can work through it together. It's okay. But I will say, look, the world has most definitely changed over the next while. And there are some companies that have got amazing service companies. They're just not venture companies. And not only do I not judge on that, I love that. I love that you got a great service company that can actually be really good and can do really well. So the most important thing for everybody here, the only thing that matters is grow, 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 grow. That doesn't mean you're selling more all the time. It means you're growing all of the time. And growing all of the time sometimes finds that people don't like a product as much as they like another product. That one grows, this one doesn't, and it goes down. I just want you to go out there right now. I've told you about the guy doing cold calls, 75 cold calls a day, one of our best companies, in an area which isn't even an easy area to be able to build on. I've told you about the person who used resilience and knowledge and epic insights to be able to change the way he focused on everything. I've shown you the way. You've got it. You're also already building great companies. So go out there, build a company. You have my email so you can connect with me whenever you want. You all know where I am. I just want to be a part of incredible people building really important companies that have the ability to break through. Okay, Koki, that is the end. I thank you all for joining. It's always a pleasure for me doing this first thing on a Monday morning and getting everybody going. And again, if anybody ever has any questions, either keep it to the next one, which will be next Monday, and I will be here again, or feel free to shoot me over an email at brian at expertdojo.com. Okay. Thank you.